Hey, how you guys doing? This is Dr. Davidian, and for my first YouTube video on my YouTube channel, I would like to do a review of Liberty University's doctoral program for the PhD in Bible Exposition through the John W. Rawlings School of Divinity. And as of December 2025, I got my Liberty University 13 by 17 inch PhD doctoral diploma. So, praise God. And so in this video, I wanted to do a review, give you guys the pros, cons, and maybe a few tips on how to survive this Liberty University PhD in Bible Exposition program. All right, to access my dissertation, you can go to Liberty University's website, search for Scholars Crossing, and then just type in, trusting Jesus to the end. If you can't find it, just type in 2026, and there's my dissertation. Another way to access my dissertation is just to Google search it, Trusting Jesus to the End dissertation, and it might pop up at the very top. So here's a screenshot of the Liberty University's program. They use Canvas, and so once you're in Canvas, you'll see here all the courses that I took. You'll see a list of some basic ones, BIBL 700 or 715, those are beginning doctoral classes. The 987, 88, and 89, those are the end. So we're going to jump forward to New Testament. We got 610 hermeneutics. That was a preliminary class. New Testament backgrounds, 800, 815, 830, 845 was all New Testament. The Greek and the advanced Greek was a prerequisite, but also counted as fulfilling doctoral requirements. And then we have Old Testament, Law, Prophets 1, Prophets 2, Writings or Wisdom. And then we have the Hebrew 1 and Hebrew 2. I'll just jump into, let's say, Bible backgrounds, New Testament backgrounds, to give you guys kind of a view of the program itself, what you look at every single day. And I'll give you guys some tips on how I navigated all this. So let's say module number 1, you'll see the required readings here, the different books and different chapters that you're required to read and take notes on. And sometimes there'll be quizzes, and other times there'll be discussion questions that they'll ask you regarding the readings. And so let's take a look at the rise of Hellenism, or the Greek literature, Greek civilization. Here is a sample discussion question, and then you'll see your classmates. You'll see a few different individuals here. One of the requirements, I believe, in this assignment was to reply to 2 of your classmates, and so you'll get graded on not only your response but your replies. And so that's just one type of assignment in the class. And here's Dr. Davidian. It looks like 4 people replied to me. Yeah, so, and then they're citing sources, you're citing sources. So anyway, that's one assignment. So around week 6, you will be required to write a research paper. And as you can see here, a lot of the class assignments were discussion-based, discussion, quiz, background New Testament assignment, and then another background essay, book critique. Ooh, that was different. So this class actually had 3 different kind of essays there, and we ended on some quizzes and discussions. When I started the doctoral program, here I am in the summer, keeping track of all my classes. And so what I would recommend for you guys starting out in your doctoral program is be organized, so you know what classes you got to take. Sometimes I list the different professors so you can know, you remember who your professors are. One of the main reasons why I did this is because I wanted to keep track of the readings. As you can see here, there's different quizzes. I'll put some links into the description where you guys can have a sample blank template where you can, you can add in your own information in your own classes. Okay, one of the more difficult classes is Prophets 2. Notice all the different readings. I believe this was a difficult class. And I actually noted that. Probably the hardest class yet because it contains so much reading and assignments. This is a very difficult class to get an A in. It caused me to get an A- in another class because I was late on turning in the final essay. So it says here, I would recommend just getting a B in this class. If you're required to do all this work, you can probably just get the B, accept it, or take this class alone. Don't take other classes while you're taking this class. And so that's one of the recommendations by Dr. Alfer, is he recommends that people taking doctoral classes should take 1 at a time. I was taking 2 at a time. So let me show you guys my calendar. In the summer, I don't teach. I don't work during the summer, so I took 2 classes. Then during the fall, I still took Old Testament Law 815, and I took New Testament Backgrounds 800. And so that means you have to write if they're asking you to write, let's say, a 25-page paper, you're writing two 25-page papers to fulfill major requirements in those two classes at the same time. So, and depending on all the other readings and stuff, it is a lot of work. For me, I don't have a lot of home life responsibilities in terms of children running around. I do have dogs, and I'm at the time of my life in my career where I can show up at work and teach at a high level. And so I was able to come home and spend a lot of time on this doctoral program. Some people who take this program do so when they're retired, when kids are out of the house. So you're going to have to manage your time and how fast you want to do it. One of the benefits to Liberty University's PhD in Bible Exposition online program, or any of the doctoral programs, is their block rate. As you see here, these are the tuition rates for 2026. And you'll see here, if you take more than 2 classes, you have to take 3 classes or 4 classes within a 16-week period, your rate is $2,850. Starting in 2022, 2023, it was $2,750 when I took it. So the price has only gone up $100 over the last 3 years. It's $410 per unit. 3 units per class, 6 units for 2 classes. Let me show you guys some math. It would be $2,460 for 2 classes over a 16-week period. There was certain moments, as you see here, I took advantage of it. Like, took 2 classes spring 1, and I took 1 class spring 2, which was a good method because that was a difficult class. It was Hebrew's Advanced Tools, Advanced Hebrew. So I spent 8 weeks just focusing on Hebrew, locked in, just Hebrew. And I got an A. When I started taking the doctoral classes, I can only take 1 during summer 1, and then I took 2 during second part of summer 2. And so that allowed me to take advantage of the block rate as well, I believe, because I took 3 classes. Then fall 1, I took 2 classes. Fall 2, I took 2 classes. So that's 4 classes within a 16-week period there. And that was difficult because I was actually working in the fall. But taking advantage of the block rate, that was just one of my goals, was to get done sooner. And so, man, it's difficult. It is difficult. One of the other benefits to Liberty University's doctoral Bible and Exposition program is that it's Bible focused. Besides hermeneutics and basic how to read the Bible classes, besides advanced language classes in Hebrew and Greek, the focus of the program is the Old Testament, the New Testament, and just that, and you're just getting into the Bible. Not only that, but you're getting into relevant issues and maybe some debates regarding things in the Bible. Like, for instance, in Old Testament backgrounds or 8:15, we get into a little bit of creation, a little bit of old earth, new, young earth debates. There's going to be in the New Testament, let's say, who the authors are, comparing maybe 2 Peter and Jude, or maybe it's Paul being an author of maybe Hebrews, or maybe the Kohelet, Solomon writing Ecclesiastes. But you're getting into topics that are Bible-based, that are, big topics within scholarship. A little bit of dispensational versus covenantalism is discussed. In Old Testament backgrounds, New Testament backgrounds, you're getting into the history and surrounding culture and context of the New Testament, Old Testament. I've looked at other doctoral programs, and sometimes they get into too much theory, or maybe just different authors have different perspectives. I really enjoy Liberty University's focus on the Bible. And so if you want to just get soaked into just what does the scriptures actually say, and really doing word studies, and really doing background studies, and really just getting into just the Bible itself, I really recommend Liberty University's program. My personal background was in education. I got a master's in education, but I was a Bible enthusiast, solid Bible-believing Christian, loving Jesus. And I've been in Christianity for a while, been studying the Bible for the while. Have probably read the Bible up to 10 times before entering this program. So I didn't think it was too far off for me to tackle. If you're a basic Bible, believing Christian, and you know how to do word studies, you know how to do a little bit of commentary studies, you have a study Bible, you know how to use blueletterbible.com, and you know how to use a concordance or maybe interlinear, you're going to do just fine in this program. For me, I had a couple cool realizations where I was trying to attempt to, I don't want to say compete
but to work alongside other scholars who have masters in divinity, masters in theology, and these other students. They were able to cite really well. They were familiar with scholarship. For me, I was jumping into a sea of scholarship. It felt like a flood. And so here I am, just having my basic Bible concordance and my blueletterbible.com, and it was like that whole iron sharpens iron motto. But God was with me, and if I can encourage anybody taking this program, it's that, your focus is on the Bible, and so you already have all the tools you need. Second, if you're praying, if you're seeking God, if you're humbling yourself, you're saying, hey God, please help me, guide me, and fill me with your spirit, and guide me in how to interpret this and argue this and things like that, you're going to do fine. So one of the negative parts with Liberty University's exposition program is the distance that you have with students and with professors and staff. Yes, there's going to be discussions like I showed you that, yes, you'll be able to interact with different individuals, and you're going to be drawn to certain individuals, like when they write and they encourage you and they kind of agree with you, or maybe they challenge you, but then maybe there was one time I misread something and then somebody corrected me. It's like, well, actually the author said this, and when I went back, I was like, wow, I misread that. Thank you so much for pointing that out to me. So no matter what the feedback is, your classmates are really positive. The professors are going to give announcements each week. They're going to interact with you during email if you have any questions. They'll make videos sometimes, and they'll make videos of themselves sharing introductory content. But it's distance learning, and you can't really interact with what other people are doing, and you can't really have an essay that you're going to write without doing your readings. Here's the other negative with online learning. Sometimes I would say 80 to 90% of the courses are well organized, and they don't give you too much work. And every once in a while, you'll have one class or a second class that there's way too much work. And so after each class, you'll be able to communicate and do a review of the professor and the class and the course content, etc. But there was one or two classes where I said, this class has too much work. Okay, here's another thing about Liberty University. They're not going to give you sources that you always agree with. The books that they give you, they're not necessarily going to give you all books that they themselves agree with, or that they expect you as a solid, let's say conservative Christian, that you're going to agree with every source, every book that you read. It's not like they're going to give you some anarchy or some crazy liberal stuff. They're not going to do that. But they're going to give you contrasts. They're going to give you, let's say, young Earth and old Earth. They're going to ask you to compare and contrast the different views. So keep that in mind. Have an open mind as a scholar. You're not always going to get readers and authors that you agree with. And that's a good thing. They're trying to educate you on the different voices that are out there. Another difficulty with Liberty University's online program is the access to commentaries. Liberty University doesn't provide 10 commentaries for every book of the Bible. That would be very helpful if they did that. You are going to have access to logo software and whatever commentaries they provide you there. I would have to go online, maybe through ProQuest or maybe Jerry Falwell Library. Try to keep track of the commentaries you do use and that you do have access to. Scholars Crossing is where you can look up previous dissertations from Liberty University. Overall, Liberty University's program, I think, is a really good quality program for anybody who has a master's degree and you want to take the next step in your scholarship and your growth as a Christian. I believe if you're a strong reader, you're self-motivated, you have some free time in your life, you don't have a lot of things holding you back, you don't have things demanding your attention, and you just love God's Word, I think you're going to do fine in this program. So I hope this video has been helpful to you. I know that wherever you are in life, this program can be a useful tool for you in your personal growth in the Bible, your personal ministry, your personal life, just sharing the Bible with others and sharing Christ with others. Like and subscribe to this channel if this content has been helpful to you. This is James Davidian. God bless you guys. Stay tuned for the next video, which is on how to write a great dissertation, on how to stay organized, research, how to be efficient, and some English tips on how to write a really awesome dissertation. God bless. See you soon.